Welcome to the Influency Podcast. I'm Hadar, and this is episode number 341. And today I'm going to speak with coach and ESL teacher Sim Ahmadu. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Influency Podcast. Today is another oldie interview with teacher Sim, whom I met on Instagram actually back in 2020. And I was very much impressed by the content that she shared and also her personality. We started connecting on DMs and I invited her to come and speak on, back then it was the Live English show, to share her journey from growing up in a small village without any knowledge of English to becoming an accent and communication coach for a global IT company in Nigeria. Sim is such an inspiration, and I hope you enjoy listening to her story. Welcome, Sim! Woo!
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Hadar. I'm so happy to be here. Let me start by saying, Hadar, I've always loved you. Okay, so I used to follow you, and then I'm like, okay, this person is so amazing. How am I gonna come in touch with this person, or how am I gonna have contact with this person? I never knew that someday you and I will be doing something like this. Seriously.
It's amazing, like the internet, right? Like, you are just, you connect. And then I saw you on Instagram, I think, and I was like, I like this girl, like your videos were great. And I'm always curious about how people teach pronunciation and how they talk about it and how they simplify it. And when I see something that is just like, I really resonate with that, or I would probably talk about it like that, then I love connecting with people in that field. So glad to have you here. We were trying like different collaborations and something always came up, and finally we had this opportunity. So Sim, why don't you introduce yourself to those who don't know you yet?
Okay, thank you so much. And to Hadar's family, I would say. Thank you all for having me here. My name is Sim, and I just told her that my full name is Simnom. It means God's love. Sim means love, and then Nom means God. And then she was asking, so which one? Where's the stress? Simnom.
Because it sounds like, is it Simnom or Simnom?
No, let's ask them. Let me ask you. Tell me, where's the stress of my name? Okay.
So say it again. So everyone say it again.
Simnom.
All right. And which syllable do you hear the primary stress? Where is there more emphasis? Let us know in the comments.
Simnom. Okay, so I am an English accent and pronunciation and communications coach currently at an IT company here in Nigeria. And basically, I teach pronunciation, I teach communication skills and soft skills. Why? Because these people actually communicate daily with different customers. So they are support engineers and they need to support people basically with their IT issues. So, they need to speak very well. They need to communicate effectively so as to help resolve the problem.
Everything is over the phone, right? Like, they have to communicate over the phone.
Yeah, they communicate via the phone, yes. So the customer will call in, hello, this is a challenge that I have. I have problems with my Microsoft, or with my Outlook or my Teams or whatever it is. And then, we've got engineers helping out with these things. So they get to communicate every day. So basically, that's why I come in to help them on how to communicate effectively via emails or phone communication.
How does your day look like?
I'm currently at work right now, and I had some trainings a few hours ago, and I've been training since morning. So I come to work at latest maybe 8, and then I'm out at 5 p.m. But I'm still here because of this live show. Yes. And then so we train back to back. We have new employees every now and then we've got to train them. We have the new employees orientation, and then we have to, carry them along put them through everything that's happening in the company, and then also train them, because we take in people the way they are, and then we train them and make them better before they start to help people out. So
Right.
basically,
So
we
they're more, their abilities to communicate are higher.
exactly,
And yeah, it's
exactly.
amazing, by the way, to me to see like that it is so required that they have brought you as a full-time, in a full-time position. You're there
Yeah.
morning till afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I guess this is like the biggest need to help them with their communication in English.
Yes. And then, by the way, have been a teacher like for, let's say, getting to 4 years now. I've worked with Teacher ABC. Yes, I taught as an English teacher, and I've worked with Native Camp. I've worked with different organizations. I've had to consult for schools and pronunciation, and how teachers can be great teachers when it comes to phonics and all of this. So it's been quite an experience, right? Teaching was never something for me. I never really wanted to be a teacher because I just felt, well, I can't sit down telling people, do this is how you should do this. I'm not someone who loves to talk a lot, so I just like to be on my own. So I always feel that, okay, people who want to be teachers are people who love to talk, right? You want to put yourself out there. But hey, I realized that it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. I
Yeah,
I found out that I just love to see that people speak well, and
right.
I see people who want to do something, or they want to go for a function. They have a public speaking and they are scared, no confidence, and they are saying things like, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to go about it, or they have what to say but they don't know how to face the crowd. I'm like, come on, you can do this. And trust
Yeah.
me, growing up, I couldn't speak English, okay? Growing up,
Yeah,
I
tell me
couldn't
about your
speak
journey.
English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in the village, okay? And of course in the village you can't find people, or should I say you can't find loads of people who can speak English, right? So I couldn't speak English fluently. I barely could say, okay, I would say maybe I come there yesterday, or I mix up my
Very
everything.
basic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basic. I don't really know how to put things together. My pronunciations were just whacked. I didn't know how to pronounce my words very well. So when I moved to the city and I was put in the school, people always laugh at me because I couldn't speak English. So when
How
I
old were
say
you then
something,
when you moved to the city?
I was 10 years old. I was 10
Mm-hmm.
years old. Yes. So it was very difficult. I wouldn't want to talk in the class because I know if I say anything, people are gonna laugh at me. So I just keep things to myself, and I started to make friends with people who were better, who were doing good in the class, and then I started learning. So I was interested in
Mm.
working on my speaking, and I started to build that interest and worked on it, and down to college, people started to call me English girl, because I could speak well. I could speak well.
Wow.
And yes, I later decided that, okay, I was going to go into broadcasting because I really love that. So,
Mm-hmm.
of course, after school, I was able to go to a radio school, right?
Ooh.
Or,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it was at radio school that I learned all of these. I learned
Yeah.
pronunciations, I learned stress placement, I
Mm.
learned confidence, I learned communication skills, I learned everything that has to do with speaking very well. It was in radio school. And while we're in school, I remember my teacher saying something like, some of you here actually want to become teachers. I mean, want to become broadcasters, but many of you are going to become teachers like me. And that kind of resonated with me. Yeah.
Oh,
I,
beautiful.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because while I was in that school, I had different people who would come to me, teach me this, teach me that. And it was so easy. I could understand these things easily more than other people. And I didn't just know why. I was wondering why it was difficult for them, but it was quite easy for me. So come on, no problem. Sit down. I can show you.
I think because of your kind of like, how you grew up and how you worked your way through English, right? Like you worked your
Exactly.
way to become fluent, to become clear. I think
Hmm.
we can't underestimate all the processes and new connections that we make in our brain. And
Hmm.
what is simple for you, it was simple for you at that time because you've already kind of like rewired your brain around how
Exactly.
English works for people who like, for your native language. So you kind of like figured it out. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why for, fellow friends and non-native speakers, you were like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, it's like, that's what you need to do. Don't you get it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Just like pulled into it. You never wanted
Mm-hmm.
it, but you were pulled into it.
Exactly. I never
Yeah.
wanted it, but I had it there. And, I kept pushing. And I worked with the radio station for some time. I interned there, and I just thought maybe I should start consulting for schools. So I went to schools and, wrote proposals to schools. And yeah, they wanted me to work with them. So I started working with some schools. Then later I decided, okay, let me do something with the online schools. And that's how I started working with Tutor ABC, even though it was a bit difficult. Some of these institutions online would say, oh, she's non-native, so we can't take her, that kind of thing and all of that. I
Let's
had
talk
loads
about
of
that for a
that.
little bit.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Let's talk about that for a sec. I mean, especially, now knowing all the things that you have to give.
hmm
And then you were like, did it make you feel insecure or did you resist it? Like, how did that make you feel? Knowing that
Sincerely,
you have so much to give.
yeah, go for it. Sincerely, Hadar, I would say I felt really bad. I felt, do they even understand what I've got to give to them? So just because I don't have an accent, I don't have an American accent or a British accent, doesn't just mean that I can't teach this thing. Give me an
Right.
opportunity to do it. Just give me a chance. So I just think that people just lock up their minds thinking that this person is not capable without even giving them the opportunity. And then the people I got to teach eventually, when I eventually started working with Tutor ABC, most of my students will, grade me 5 star, 5 star. Oh, she's so good. Oh, she's so good. She's so good. I'm non-native, but they really enjoyed my classes because I had different ways of doing this. Now, there are people who are native speakers, but they are not teachers. They don't know how. They're not patients.
The idea that I think that people think that there is only, it's so aggravating because just like there isn't one curriculum that fits all students, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
one way of teaching,
Mm-hmm.
one way, like one curriculum. You need to do a little bit of this, a little bit. No, like every student is individual and they need different things
Mm-hmm.
in English. And until the industry realizes that it's not one size fits all, like,
Mm-hmm.
people need this individualized training. Same
Exactly.
thing with the type of teacher that they need. And not all
Exactly.
students need a native teacher who will
Mm-hmm.
get them to work on the nuances of speech. Some people need people who get them, who simplify it in the way that only they can understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there is room for everyone. It's not that
There
it's
is
only
room.
native speakers or only non-native speakers. It's not.
Exactly.
But there
Yeah.
is room for everyone. And
Everyone.
the moment, like, look at that. Like the people who said no to you were
Yeah.
actually, preventing their students from the experience of learning with someone who is like a top star, 5-star teacher,
Yeah.
and also the personality and the chemistry that you have with a teacher. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. There is so much to being a teacher. It is not just you knowing how to speak language. Okay.
yeah,
We all agree that English language is a universal language. So how is it that the same language is bringing racism? It is a universal language. It is that
it is.
language that brings people together. So how is it that it is that language that is bringing about racism? So it shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah,
But it's not the language. It's like how the language is being taught in the
it's been
industry. This is what we need to look.
exactly.
It's the system, right, that was created. It's
Mm-hmm.
the language is not racist, but the people who own
People.
it in a way, right? Like
Exactly.
or created the industry, it's a reflection of society, right? But there is
Mm-hmm.
this hierarchy and it's time for us to dismantle it. And it's time for us to call it out for what it is, which
Mm-hmm.
is like once you discriminate against non-native speaking teachers, it
Mm-hmm.
is racism, right? Like it is a form of exclusion, and it's time to bring more equity, right, to the industry.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Sim, beautiful. Like, and then from then on, you decided to
And
move
then
on and work
yeah.
with this company.
So funnily enough, this company is actually a multinational company. So we have other places. We have our offices and or our branches in other places like Bulgaria, Costa Rica, China, even
Mhm.
America. We have all of that. And even before I came in, I had my interview, and when I spoke with this person, I was like, "Wow, you speak amazingly, and then you're doing very well. Please, would love to have you here," and all of that. And I came in and started working. Now, when I started working with these people, what I realized was we had different misconceptions about pronunciation. So I had to talk about these things that, okay, this is what you need to know. A lot of times people think that pronunciations are based on spellings because that's how people in this area or this part of the world are. So the moment they see a word, they try to pronounce
Yeah.
the word the way it is spelled.
Mm.
And I had to, start by saying, no, pronunciations are not governed by spellings.
Right.
Okay. Which
Right.
is
Definitely
also
not in English. Yeah.
yes, yes, in English, yes. Maybe in another language, because yes,
Right.
there is a language in my country that the moment you see how the word is being spelled, you can pronounce it that way.
Right.
So I try to say, no, don't take that mindset to English language. It is not that way.
Right.
For English
Right.
language, they work with sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the way English is taught, where they
Yeah,
start teaching you through letters, right? Like start writing in
exactly.
letter, this gets in your brain and that's what you have. Like, you only have the
Exactly.
vision, you visualize the words all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that
Yeah.
was why when I was consulting for schools, kindergarten, what we did was sounds. Okay, we did sounds. I told them, okay, we're not gonna start by teaching these kids letters. We will start by
Good.
teaching them sounds. And if you're able to catch them young, when they grow, they're not gonna have the issues or the challenges that adults actually have right now. So we start with sounds. Okay, this is the sound, and when you blend this sound, you put this sound together. This is s and this is ah. When you put s and ah together, they give you what? Sa, right? And when you put t together, what do you get? Sat, right? She sat on the table. So we
Right.
do that. We tell people, okay, we tell children, let's work with the sounds. Okay. So
Mm.
while we are teaching the sounds, we are teaching the names of the letters. The sound for this is what? And they tell you, what is the name of the letter? S. So you do it together, and it's so
Yeah.
easy for them to
Yeah.
learn both of them. So they are learning two things at the same time:
Right.
sound
So
and
they
letters.
learn the sound first, and then,
Yes.
oh, by the way, this sound can be represented with
Mm-hmm.
this letter or that letter. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love
Beautiful.
that. I
Yes.
absolutely agree with this method. Sometimes people ask me, do your girls speak English? And I'm like, they don't know a lot of words. They don't speak a lot of English, but they know how to make all the sounds, right? Like that
Oh.
was the first thing that I insisted on, like
Mhm.
they know how to make all the sounds of English. So
Oh.
I'm good.
So how do you communicate with them? With
In Hebrew.
usually? Oh,
In
Hebrew.
Hebrew. Yeah.
You know, Hada, I actually love Hebrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
We can
the
speak
Hebrew
Hebrew if you want.
language.
No, I'm kidding. Okay, Sim, I love that you're here. And let's get started with answering a bunch of awesome questions.
Okay.
So let's see. We have a few questions. So I'm taking those from my Instagram account. And by the way, for those of you who don't follow Sim, now is the time. So English with Sim, go check her out, her Instagram account. And I posted this on Instagram. So I got a few questions. Okay. Yim is asking how to pronounce rubber and robber. Rubber,
Okay.
when the rubber
Eh,
meets the road, and robber. Okay.
Okay.
So how would you explain it?
Rubber. You mean the Rubber?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So for the rubber, we have the U. When you have the RUB,
Mm-hmm.
usually when I am teaching this, I always tell people that most times, remember, we have exceptions to these rules. Okay. But most times when you have a word that has the U in between two consonant
Mm-hmm.
sounds, there are chances that that has the inverted V.
Exactly, which is like usually people are taking it to an ooh, but no, it's
Ooh,
closer to an like a neutral sound. It's exactly that. Yeah.
exactly,
I call it
exactly.
the
And
cup sound.
the cup
Mm-hmm.
sound, beautiful. And how do I teach this? So I tell people that when you're producing the sound, you smile ah, right? And when
Mm-hmm.
you're producing the inverted V, you don't smile uh,
Mm.
So one you're smiling, the other you're not smiling.
That's the
So
as in cat,
a,
right?
beautiful
Mm-hmm.
for cats, right? And then for the inverted V. So take note of this most times, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you have your consonant sounds in between, when you have your U, okay, your
Mm-hmm.
sound in between two consonant sounds, it has the cup sound. Cup,
The
uh.
rubber,
So it's
rubber. Mm-hmm.
rubber. And of course, you have the sure sound at the end. Most times when you have the ER, okay,
Mm-hmm.
for the American English, and I mean for the British English, and then for the American English, RE, most times
Mm-hmm.
it has the sure sound. Uh,
Right.
so it's not going to be, maybe in this part of the world, in Nigeria, you hear someone say roba, roba.
Mm-hmm. You
But
open
no,
it up.
it is not. Yeah, you open your mouth, but no, you close it. Rubber, rubber.
Right, right. And you sometimes have a tendency, you lean more towards British or American. What would you say? Because then it would determine how you pronounce that R at the end.
Again, yes. So for the British pronunciation, the R is almost not there. Rubber,
Mm-hmm.
rubber. But the
Mm-hmm.
American, they have the rhotic sound.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Rubber, rubber. You'll hear
Mm-hmm.
that. So just
Yeah.
choose. If you want to learn the American English, focus on that. If you want to learn the British English, focus on that. Okay? And
Right.
then rubber, right? Rubber. The sound. Now we have the sound, which is rubber. It's not the same. Rubber and robber, they're not the same.
Right.
Sound. Okay? But at the end, where we can say, okay, these two are together, it's at the end where they both have the sure sound.
Right.
Burr, burr,
So they sound the
burr.
same. These are minimal pairs, and this is why it's
Mm-hmm.
confusing because it's like this one sound and what's the difference? And I would
Uh-huh.
also say that like the difference also, even though we do open the mouth for the rubber,
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
there is a slight deviation between British and American here.
American.
So the
Mm-hmm.
sound,
Yes.
a lot of times is associated with the British and
Oh.
Americans sometimes tend to do it more like ah, right?
Ah.
Like the ahs
Yeah,
and
robber.
father, robber,
Yeah.
robber.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as Sim said, sometimes you don't have to speak American or speak British, but if you know that these are your two options, then choose whatever is easier for you to pronounce because you will be understood anyway, right? So if you tend to
Exactly.
make it more like an O-ish sound, like raw, robber,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's still great because that's how it's being pronounced in, the other side of the world if you live in the US. Yeah.
I know that I've growing up, I actually was learning British pronunciation. But trust me, when I started following Hadar, I liked the way she was pronouncing most of her words. So at some point, I had people say, you are changing your pronunciation. Now you are using the American pronunciation. I didn't even know that that was really affecting me and all of that. And I was like, okay, but do you understand what I'm saying? Am I communicating with you? The person said yes. I said fine. All
Exactly,
right.
exactly, right? That's what matters, right? And
Okay.
and again, it's clarity over, what is perceived to be the ideal of,
Ideal.
English or standard American or received pronunciation. There is
Mm-hmm.
like a diversity in the language. It's
Yeah.
not like the entire population of good speakers of English speak with standard
Mm-hmm.
American or received pronunciation in the UK. No.
Mm-hmm.
So there is diversity and it's okay to bring that diversity, even if it deviates from that ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And not to undermine those who are at a place that want to, like they feel that my friend Samara Bay, she's been here on the show before. She said that like the thing about standard American is that the placement of the vowel is where your voice is like, it's the most energized form of that particular vowel. And this is why it's okay to strive for it, just so it serves you better as a speaker, not so you sound like someone else, because it really is, you are at your best. Your voice is at its best. There is a clear distinction between sounds, and this is why we want to go there. But at the same time, clarity. Clarity is more important than accuracy. Okay, next question. We had a bunch of questions about the dark L. So how do you talk about the dark L versus the light L?
Okay, so can you give me an example? Maybe give me a word with a dark L and then a
Yeah, so
word
let's explain to people here what is the
Mhm.
light L and what is the dark L. And I'm also going to share, a little bit about how I teach it. I have to say that this is a challenging one sometimes for people who
Okay.
don't have two different L's. So a light L, for those of you watching, is when the tip of the tongue touches the upper palate and it
Yeah.
appears before a vowel, right? Like as in the word light and
Light, yeah.
and allow. And then the dark L is usually the L that appears at the end of words or before another consonant, right? I think someone even gave an example here. Okay,
Wow.
so Christina was asking about the word plan, but Christina, actually the L in plan is light.
It's light
Plan,
because
yeah, because it's
before the vowel.
exactly. So a lot of times people struggle just with that L at the end, like in the word feel, right? Like when we have that tension at the end, feel. Do you feel that this is a struggle for a lot of your students, the L?
Okay, so this is actually coming as a surprise because we don't have challenges with something like this, the dark L or the light L, okay? But then I must say that I've not had students who had challenges with this. Sincerely, I haven't had that. The challenges I would say we've had is the R sound, right? The R sound.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
people have had those
Which
challenges.
tells me, by the way, a lot about the language that you speak, like that probably there is that distinction between light L
Yes.
and a darker L. So if you have that in your language or something similar, let's just say, then this is not a challenge, right? That wouldn't be a challenge. But I would say, to answer that question, I would say that like the main difference is that, first of all, for the light L, there is clear contact between the tip of the tongue and the upper palate.
And the opposite palate.
Right? Listen, like in listen, right? You hear that nice clear sound. And
Yeah.
in well, right? It has that
Wow.
weird dark that you're anyway making, right? Like where there is tension here in the back and there is always this transition to it. And a little tip that I can give our audience is that when we have a word like feel, right? Like when there is a high E, we have an extra sound there, right? Can you hear it with me, Sim? Like the
I can hear
feel. Yeah.
feel. So, but some people would say feel, feel.
Yes,
So they
exactly.
bring the L to the tip of the tongue, which should be at the back. Feel, feel. I get
Yes,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of
So
feel,
sometimes if someone says feel, that
feel.
would not be associated as an L, and they may think that they're saying an R or something like that. Like they may confuse it, like native speakers sometimes thinking, because they don't recognize that L sound as a dark
Yeah.
L. Yeah. It's all about categories. It's really interesting. Like, how do people, it's not that they don't hear you making the L, they hear it, but what, like the brain categorizes it in different places than what where you want it to be. So what you said is exactly it, like feel versus feel.
Feel. Yeah.
Yeah. And Christina, or for those of you who are asking about the L, we had a few more questions about it. I usually say that I divide it into two, and I say this because, as I said, it's not one size fits all, and it really depends on your tendencies that are a result of your native language. So, for example, Spanish speakers or French speakers or Hebrew speakers, for example, or if you've seen it, with Nigerian speakers, then sometimes like the L sound, when there is only a light L, L, and I would tell those students to try and not, like you said, to bring it to the back, to bring the tongue to the back and not to touch the upper palate, right? Like not to touch the upper palate with the tongue, right? Try to pronounce that sound without bringing the tip of the tongue. We will, oh. My tongue is right there in the middle, will.
Yeah.
And then I would also say and tell me if that resonates with you. I also tell students, because sometimes there are students who turn it into an oo sound or an o, right? Like Brazilian Portuguese speakers, right? They may say something like people, right?
Okay.
No, I'm people, right? Putting an o sound instead. And then for you guys, I would say, or sometimes Japanese speakers, sometimes Chinese speakers. And then I would say, in this case, make sure that you bring the tip of the tongue to touch the upper palate, because otherwise it's just going to sound like an ooh. So usually if they bring the tongue to touch the upper palate, there is still that ooish quality, but then you still hear like a reminder of an L, right? When you bring the tip of the tongue. Because honestly, like, Sim, I talked to a friend of mine and she said that she pronounces her dark L. She touches the upper palate for the dark L, and she's a Native American speaker.
Oh,
Anyway.
wow.
Yeah.
People.
People.
Physical.
Yeah.
Practical.
But you see, you still, like,
Technical.
even if you bring the tip of the tongue forward, which you just did, and you usually don't do it, right?
I don't.
Yeah, because I could hear the difference, but I didn't confuse it with a light L, because you still had that nice dark quality, right?
Yeah.
Because you're used to, you know how to create that tension because you have it in your native language.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I love
it's
it.
funny. It's amazing that sometimes when I hear some of the challenges that people have, it's actually a bit amazing. I'm like, oh wow. So people have these challenges. Oh wow. Okay. And then so I try to bring it down to try to bring it down here too, because even here we also have challenges with letters with sounds like so someone wants to say thank you or thank you, and the person will say thank you.
Right.
Use the T instead of the thank you.
Right.
You say thank
That's
you.
a very common challenge. So how do you go about it in giving them tips to teach how to improve the TH?
So a lot of languages, my language in Nigeria actually has the TH sound. So it's very easy for me because we have words with the TH sound. But other languages don't have. So basically when I teach that you should bring out your tongue and place it in between your upper teeth and your lower teeth. And then of course for the soft TH, because they are two, we have the hard TH and the soft TH. You blow soft air. It's like you're breathing.
Right.
Very easy. Some people try to place their teeth on their tongue so hard. I say, no, it's not supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be
That's
light.
a very common mistake that students make. They take the tongue out, but then they still
take it
lock
back.
it against the teeth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the air doesn't come out, right? Like
Exactly. Exactly. So I just say breathe on your, breathe while your tongue is in between your upper teeth and your lower teeth. So just breathe.
You guys, I hope you're doing it with us, everyone. And how do you explain the difference between the hard and soft, the voice and the voiceless?
Yes. So I try to say that. So they are a pair, right? They're like, okay, let's just say this is a brother and his sister. Okay. So there are qualities that a brother has that a sister doesn't have. All right. So the brother probably is, his voice is thicker, and the sister, her voice is lighter. Right. So
which is the quality, by the way.
Yeah.
Quality the sister has.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the sister is lighter and then the brother is harder, or something like that. So again, you can know this when you place your hand at your vocal cord, right?
Okay, let's all do it together.
Let's do this. So try to produce the brother, which is harder. Okay, it's harder than the sister, which is when you place it, you hear a vibration sometime here and also here.
Right.
It's almost like a V, but it is not.
Yeah.
And that's why here in Nigeria, some people want to say brother. You hear someone say brava, They use the V, but no, it is not the V. Okay, it's the brother.
Right.
Can you feel a vibration? If you can feel a vibration, type it in the comment. Let me see.
Yeah, let us know if you feel vibrations. If you hold out the sound, the
at your vocal cord, you should feel some vibration here. Okay. And then for the sister, all right, you're not gonna feel any vibration. It's just gonna be soft. It's smooth. So it's and by the way, yes, I saw the sprint that Hada actually did. If you haven't seen that, please go check it out. She really helped us with that. And then she did the
right,
and then the like that. So check those things. By the way, Hadar, every time I have classes with my students, we always have those pronunciation practice. Always
Yay,
have.
good.
Yeah,
Yes.
I always make all of us watch it before we start. So I say this is
It's an
our
amazing
exercise.
warm up. Like, I think it's
Yeah,
so
it's very
important.
good.
You know, people expect themselves to speak effortlessly without doing the work, but it's like it's like workout. You can't run a marathon without warming up before, right? Like, you have to do your
Exactly.
stretches and you
Mm-hmm.
have to build it up every single day. Yeah,
Very true.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
Lady feels it. Of course, she does these exercises every day as well. Lady, I see you. Okay, B and S is another vibration.
Mm.
Andre says, yes, Andre, B
B,
is
yeah.
also a voice consonant. There is
Hmm.
vibration, but S,
No. No
right.
vibration.
I
No.
feel vibrations in my head. Good. Here also.
Exactly. You feel it
Um,
in your head.
uh-huh. Yeah, but similar. Well, the S is very much right. Like, the S is very much like the voiceless TH in terms of
Yes,
the feeling of it.
exactly.
Okay. Like
And it's a
the F,
sister.
the S,
Yes, the
right?
F. Yeah, the S is a sister to Z, right?
Exactly.
Z.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let's see if we can answer a couple more questions.
Okay.
Genevieve is asking, how do I identify my English needs? Okay, so I'm actually going to turn it to you and ask you, how do you identify your students' needs? And maybe Genevieve can understand from that, how can she do the same thing for her? And then I'll help out a little bit at the end. I'll just give my take on it.
Hmm. So, how do I identify my students' needs, right? I usually have this recording. I'll let you record yourself. I have a comprehension. I'll just let you read it out for me. So there are sounds that I'm looking out for in
Mm,
those comprehensions. So when you in the comprehension rather, so when you're done reading it or while you're reading it, I'm taking notes of the
mhm.
things that I am noticing. Okay.
What sounds are you intentionally looking for?
Okay, so most people cannot produce the sound here in
Mm,
Nigeria. We interchange it. So someone wants to say apple, apple, and the person is saying apple, apple,
they over apply
apple.
it. Yeah.
Yes. So it's like an affectation and de-affectation, applying a sound that is not supposed to be there. Okay.
And then when
Or
there is an H, they don't
mhm.
pronounce it.
Exactly. So you take away the H where there is an H. So for instance, you want to say something like happen. It happened yesterday. It happened yesterday. You hear someone say it happened yesterday. It
Yeah.
happened yesterday.
Or, yeah, I hate it instead of I ate it,
I
or
ate
vice versa.
it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I ate it.
Yeah.
So you are confusing me if you say I ate it. So I'm thinking you mean ate, like you ate something, right? So it is important. So I look out for this and then I look out for the R. So lots of people cannot produce the R. You hear something like rice, rice,
Mm,
red,
yeah.
red. Yeah, yeah,
Red.
red. Beautiful. So I also look
Mm-hmm.
out for those. And then, of course, the TH. Lots of people cannot produce that. So I already know the things I am looking out for. Okay. And then these are things that people who probably are trying to work on their pronunciations. And then now coming down to accents, there are people who already have the mother tongue accent. So when they are speaking, when you hear someone from, maybe I would say, maybe from an Igbo person in Nigeria or a Hausa person. So I'm going to speak like a Hausa person now. Just watch me.
Mm,
My fellow people, I just want you to know this about me. Now, that's how a typical Hausa person is going to speak. People, my fellow people. Do you understand?
substituting the,
So
yeah, yeah.
just interchanging. And then when you hear a Yoruba person or an Igbo
Mm,
person speak, my brother, I dey tell you, say, something like that. So it
I love that.
changes.
Yeah.
So the accent is there, and then it is interfering. So it
Mm-hmm.
is really causing a lot of, distortion. I can't really get what you're saying. So the accent is
Mm,
affecting me. So these people, they need special coaching.
yeah. So what you're saying, you're working with two different people from the same country, and both of them will have different needs. right?
Yes.
Because they speak different languages, different dialects, whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
different pronunciation needs, which is
Yes.
to say that like really it's very, very individual. And even people who speak the same language may have different needs. So as you
Exactly.
are listening, you are already guessing what their
Mm-hmm.
struggle is going to be because you've
Mm-hmm.
seen it, you've heard it. Sometimes it's like, you share a language. So all of these things. And I can definitely resonate with that because I think that, at the end of the day, I've worked with, dozens and dozens of speakers from different
Mm-hmm.
languages. But ultimately, if I can look at a person and know exactly what their challenges are going to be, it's when they're Israeli, right? Like if they speak Hebrew and
Mm-hmm.
I know like in and out, like I don't even have to listen to them to tell them what they need to work on. So there is a way to generalize it, but also within it. So Genevieve, like Sim said, when she listens intentionally to sounds, what you need to do is to identify the challenges of your language. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I have a series. I do it for Russian speakers. I have it for Russian, Korean, Spanish, and Brazilian Portuguese. I did like the top pronunciation challenges. I have one coming
Mm-hmm.
up for Mandarin Chinese.
Oh wow,
But if
great,
you can
amazing.
find, yeah, and I love doing it because I love
Mm-hmm.
analyzing languages. If you don't find it on my channel, or for those of you who are struggling with what their pronunciation needs are, your pronunciation needs are, then find a resource, right? Because Sim already knows it by heart when she works with her students. She doesn't need a resource. But if
Mm-hmm.
you are a learner, find a resource that identifies the main challenges of speakers of your language, right? Pronunciation
Language.
challenges. And it's not coincidental, it's phonology. It's how the two languages fit together. Before
Yeah.
we turned play, Sim, we were talking about how you bring over some of the challenges or some of the patterns,
Mm-hmm.
right? You
Yeah.
mentioned that
Mm-hmm.
you bring over the patterns from your native language onto English. So
Mm-hmm.
you look for the sounds that only exist in your native language, or you say the sounds. So,
Yes.
and that's what happens. So you can get it like a real valid resource, and then you
Mm-hmm.
look at it and you say, okay, it seems that for people who speak my language, they may struggle with, let's say, R, TH,
Or yeah.
maybe open vowel sounds. And so you get like a list. And then what Sim does, right? Like she records and listens. You need to do that with yourself as well. You
Mm-hmm.
record a comprehension, like you read out loud something, you speak freely, you record it. And then, like for those of you who are self learners, if you don't have Sim, then you need to consciously listen and look at that list of challenges and say, where do I struggle? Do I struggle with those 5, 6, 7 things?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you know. And it's okay that you're focusing only on like a limited number of things. And after that, you will start, noticing other things, right, Sim? So like you don't work on everything with your students.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we work, I mean, if you are coming for a one-on-one, I know what I am working on, but when we are having a large class, I also have to know what I am working on. So sometimes we're working, some people have challenges with listening, right? You
Mm,
you are saying something, you can hear what the person is saying, but you cannot actually replicate what you're hearing. So we still work on
mm,
that. So we work on different things actually. Okay, we
right.
work on different things.
Right. And so you work in different things, and probably it's not like you don't work on all the sounds of English and all the grammar rules, because you can't. You have like a limited number of hours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can't do
So,
everything at once.
right.
You can do
Yeah.
everything at once. Yeah.
So how do you decide what's more important than
Ex-
and what's less important?
exactly. So because I'm working with these people, first of all, I get to know who are the people you are communicating with. So most of our customers are from India, some are from America, some are from Europe, and all of that. We try to see how we can teach you things that can help you communicate with these
Yeah.
people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're not generalizing, okay? We're not saying it has to be this way, but we give you the basics, right? We say, okay, this is what you need to know about sounds generally. But then
Right.
dealing with this kind of people, we talk about the cultural differences and all of that. So this is how these people hear this, and this is how you should relate or communicate with
Yeah.
these people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that because there is so much that goes into it. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
pronunciation. It's like
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, what is the end result? Not just to sound like a certain person or a certain
Mm-hmm.
way, but like ultimately to truly communicate confidently, to
Communicate.
truly, yeah, and to be fluent and to feel good about yourself. So, yeah, so I think that when you analyze those things and you decide on what you want to focus on, it's okay if it's not the full list of what teachers want you to learn or
Learn.
the full list of what English has to offer, but focus on a few things, be very, very determined and
Mm-hmm.
intentional about those, and then broaden your horizons.
Broaden your horizons.
So we're gonna now move to the audience and see. Let's see, what do we have here? May I ask about the pronunciation of LRD letters, all of them together at the same word, like world. Someone else asked about world. Okay,
World. Okay.
world.
World. World. Okay, so you're having the R, the L. That's why we have the dark L, right?
Yeah,
World.
yeah,
World.
yeah, yeah. Which is actually easier because if you put the light L, it really messes up the pronunciation
Yeah,
because it gets you to,
world.
it makes it sound like
World.
would.
World.
Yeah,
World.
yeah.
So you
Or
have
it
to use
ends
the
up
dark.
being word, would,
Yes,
right? Because
word.
the L and the D
Yeah.
are,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that world is a word that people struggle with for you, your students?
Yeah, so they say something like world, world,
Mm,
not
yeah,
world, not world, world,
world.
world.
Right,
Yes. So it should be world, world. The R is
right.
there, is there. So when you take it back, the sound, I think that's what takes the L back to the dark L.
Mm-hmm. Right. And you want to
World.
keep it there. Yeah,
You
yeah,
want, you want
absolutely.
to keep it there, yeah. So that's what happens. And of course,
Word.
the D is there. The D is there. You have to produce it. It's not world. It's world.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that a lot of times if you don't give enough time and space for the L and the R, right, then ends up sounding like word. So it's like you
Word.
have to give, right,
Yeah.
world,
Let the word breathe.
right? The D is just like only at the end after you hear those two sounds. So you
Yes.
pull the tongue in for the R, make sure it doesn't touch anything, round your lips,
Mm-hmm.
and then you kind of like just drop and tense the root of the tongue a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
then there is no more contact between the sides, right? Like right? The
Yeah.
transition. Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel that like from the
Yeah, I do.
earl?
World. Yeah.
Yeah, so there is this
World.
transition. By the way, for people who struggle with the R, you can drop the R and just go to the dark L,
Yes.
not really
Wo-
directly, but world.
World. World. Yeah, so I hear that too, Hadar. I hear people who say world. World. World.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
they
hear
drop that like
the R.
world.
World.
Yeah.
World. So it
But I think
does it sound good?
mhm,
World.
world, it's more British.
Okay.
World, right? Because
Yeah,
there is
world.
no R, right?
Oh, there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more
Were, and then
British.
there is the were. In American English is just from the W to the R directly.
Or yes.
Were,
Again, what
world.
I notice is sometimes when you rush your words, you might not produce the words the way they should be produced. So sometimes you need to take your
Yes.
time and let your sounds, let the words breathe, okay? Your
Amen to that, Sim. Yes, absolutely. I mean, people put in so much work in their pronunciation, so they know how to make all those sounds, the R, the L, the D, and then they go too fast,
we got
not
to fast.
allowing all the beautiful work to come up, right? Let the
Yeah.
words breathe. I love it. I love it so much. Yeah. Okay, there was a question here from, let me try and find it. Alejandro is saying, Sim, would you recommend to keep one's native accent for authenticity? I like mine.
If you love your accents, please keep it.
Yeah.
Okay? Except if you so see, I tell people that if maybe you want to take a role, you want to act a movie, and you are expected to have a certain accent. So, I mean, if you have to take a role, if you have to take a job that requires that you have a particular accent, then work on
Mm-hmm.
it. That requires, and remember, you have lots of accents in America. You have lots of accents even in, I mean, in other countries, Australia, Canada. So you have to choose whichever. So, but if you can communicate effectively, you can keep your
Mm-hmm.
accents. If you can
Right.
communicate effectively, you can keep your accent and focus on communication.
Everyone has an accent,
Communication.
Alejandro. So you
Yes.
love your accent. Like that is the most beautiful gift you can give yourself and the people
Yes.
around you, to show that
Mm-hmm.
like it's totally fine, and you kind of like you boast in the way you sound. It's so
Mm-hmm.
important that we love how we sound. And as Sim says, yes, make sure that you are, pronouncing things in a way that lands, that people get what you want, so you can get what
Mm-hmm.
you want. Like, they get, so you get what you want. And I think that
Yeah.
like acquiring a new accent and working on your pronunciation really does give you some tools
Mm-hmm.
and a skill set that you may not have had. So it's not like sometimes people resist it and it's not me and it's this. And it's like, no, try to welcome it and see what that does to you. Maybe it
Mm-hmm.
gives you a new way of confidence or a new way of speaking, or it helps you kind of like find a more balanced and present and voice, that you're able to show up differently than how
Mm-hmm.
you showed up. Like always look for ways to improve yourself, to feel good about yourself and to speak
Yeah.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then one last thing I wanted to say was, okay, I wanted to say that if you have a different accent from the native accents, you are sorry, I always say I'm more advantaged. Why? Because I have the opportunity to switch. It means you can speak lots of languages, so you are at advantage. So don't feel that you are disadvantaged because you have another accent. It's a plus for you. Okay.
Absolutely.
It's a
Absolutely.
plus for you. It just means that you're flexible. You can switch. I can speak
Yeah.
this and then later I can switch to this. Okay, so
Yeah.
don't.
It's like you have something and you choose to see it, if it's an advantage or a disadvantage, but it's your
Mm-hmm.
choice, right? It's
Yes,
kind of
yes.
like, I have an accent. Okay, so it's a disadvantage. People don't understand you. I have an accent. You speak another language. You communicate with the world. You have this ability. Your brain is rewiring every single time you speak. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, and when you see it as an opportunity to connect, to learn, as a person who has power, right? Like when you come into a conversation, I have power because this is not my first language and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
communicating here, then it definitely, it's like what you said, it's a privilege and it's an advantage.
Yes, yes. Please use
Yes.
it for your advantage.
Yes. Okay, so Sim, my love, it was such a pleasure. I could have kept on talking to you here,
Thank
but
you.
yay. And like also for the first time, I think hearing your story and your journey, it's so inspiring. And
Thank you
I
so
hope,
much.
and I have no doubt that you keep on inspiring your students every single day and your followers. Wait, let's remind you, you guys, go check out English with Sim. You also have a YouTube channel, right? Same
Yeah,
name,
I
English with
do.
Sim.
Yeah, English with Sim. Yeah, just check it out. I look forward to meeting you all.
Yes, and all the links are right here in the description, so you can go ahead and click on it and
Mhm.
let Sim know, send her a DM, tell her what you think.
Thank
Okay?
you.
So everyone, thank you so much, and thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you, Sim, so much.
Thank you
Have a
so much,
beautiful
Heather.
rest of the day and evening.
And you too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys.